Children's charity KidsCan is hoping it will be able to operate as an essential service during the nationwide lockdown and says demand from schools for food supplies has risen sharply in just the last week. After the nation moved to Alert Level 3, the charity changed its policy, allowing schools to send food home to families for the first time. CEO Julie Chapman says hundreds of schools put their hand up to become a supply hub during the lockdown to support students and their families who they know will be struggling. She joins me now. Tell us, have you heard, Julie, from the government what your role will be during the lockdown?
Look, what I can tell you is we've been speaking with Ministry of Education today, and we know that using schools as a hub will probably not work because of the fact that people do need to stay home and self-isolate in this period. So what we are now doing is talking to government about how and what we could do to still get supplies through to those families and children that are in need. But the key thing here is that it obviously needs to be done safely.
So any thoughts on how you might be able to do that?
Well, I think, there's a lot of ideas and a lot of thoughts that we've got, but ultimately it's going to be up to the sort of command team as to whether we can play a part. We're certainly poised and ready to do that. We are a bulk food supplier. So if we are called upon, then we will help. One of the key messages that I want to get out to our schools tonight, though, is that if you do have any KidsCan food on site, you need to get that out and distribute it to families before midnight. Otherwise, it is likely that it will have to stay there for at least the 4 weeks of the lockdown, possibly longer if it continues.
So how much food is that then that you need to get out tonight?
Well, that depends on what schools are holding from term one. And we know that some schools have already been taking that food and sending it out to their communities, sending it home with children. And we have communicated that to schools earlier in the week that they are able to do that. But certainly now that we know that it would be unlikely that we could use schools as a hub, we're encouraging our schools to take that food now and give it out to families before midnight.
So what has the demand been like in the past week?
We opened our food portal about a week ago, and on average each term the requests are to support about 30,000 children a day across 787 schools. So far we've had 460 schools order food, and we have already exceeded the 30,000 students a day. So we expect certainly that when we come out of lockdown and we go back into the school term and schools go back, we'll be exceeding 40,000 students a day. So that is going to require huge effort from us, the community, and our partners and individuals that donate to KidsCan.
So what kind of foodstuffs have you been sending? Because it wasn't prepared food, was it? It had to be food that could be prepared at home. So what kind of stuff were you sending out in the packages?
Yeah, so our schools are able to access a range of products. So we have fruit in tins, we have baked beans, we have yogurt makers, spreads for bread, scroggin mix, a range of muesli bars, and general kind of hot meals in tins that can be heated up and prepared easily and in a safe way.
Julie, how worried are you about these kids? Because they're not going to be going to school for the next month and potentially longer. And if they normally get one of their main meals from you at school, what are your worries here?
Yeah, we're extremely worried as a team. And as I say, we stand ready to work in any capacity that we can with government. This is going to become, this isn't about just KidsCan kids in schools. This is going to become a wider food insecurity issue across the country. I believe that we can play a part in meeting that need, but we are going to see a huge increase, and we are very worried about those students that do rely on, breakfast and lunch being provided at school.
So you're obviously hopeful that some kind of arrangement where everybody will still be safe, but this food will be able to get through. You're still hoping you can negotiate that.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's what we're set up to do. We have a huge distribution warehouse. We have stock coming in. Our supply chain, we have food there right now that we get out to communities. So, we are hopeful that we can play some kind of role to ensure that kids and families don't go hungry.
Thank you so much for joining us. That's Julie Chapman, who's the KidsCan CEO, and apologies for the phone line getting a bit ropey near the end of that.